Close your eyes, dear listener. Tonight we drift into the forgotten temples of time, where the whispers of ancient cults and divine women still glow like candlelight upon stone walls. These are stories not of fear, but of grace, tales of priestesses, goddesses, and sacred keepers who once guided humanity toward mystery and peace. As the night deepens, let the gentle voices of history cradle you. Imagine the desert winds carrying chants, the ocean tides echoing hymns, and the stars above remembering the songs of women who were seen not just as mortal, but as bridges to the eternal. Together we will wander softly through their myths to soothe your soul and calm your dreams. If these stories bring you peace, let your spirit leave a quiet trace in the comments. Perhaps share where you're listening from. And if you wish to rest with us again, you may gently subscribe so the next night's journey will find you with ease. The night is quiet. The stars are fading one by one, as if the heavens are gently closing their eyes. A hush settles over the earth, and the first whisper of light touches the edge of the horizon. It is the hour before sunrise, a time the ancients believed was sacred, a time when the world itself seemed to breathe in stillness. In those moments, long ago, a figure would rise before the village. She was known as the Dawn Priestess. Her steps were slow, her presence calm, her breath steady like the rhythm of the earth. The air around her carried the scent of morning dew, the ground still cool beneath her feet. Birds, half asleep, stirred in the branches above, sensing her movement. She walked toward the eastern hill, where the first light would appear. The villagers slept, wrapped in their dreams, but she remained awake, keeping the threshold between night and day. The Dawn Priestess was not only a woman, but a symbol, a vessel of the people's trust, a reminder that each day was a gift, born from mystery, born from shadow into light. In her hand she carried a bowl of water, clear, still, reflecting the stars that lingered. Water gathered from the river the night before, when the moon was high. This water was no ordinary water. It was seen as the memory of the night carried into the morning. The stars above, the silver moon, the cool breath of midnight, all resting quietly inside. She placed the bowl upon a flat stone. There at the edge of the hill, it caught the first rays of dawn. The water shimmered, darkness giving way to gold. Her voice, soft and slow, rose with the light. Not words of command, but words of blessing. A song without hurry, a prayer without edges. It was said that when she sang, the earth listened. That seeds in the soil stirred, roots reached, and blossoms opened in her presence. She was a guardian of beginnings, a keeper of transitions. Many cultures held such figures, though their names were different. In the far lands of Egypt, women welcomed the sun as it rose from the horizon, calling it Ra's journey through the sky. In Greece, priestesses of the dawn kindled small fires to echo the first light. Among the people of the fertile valleys, the rising sun was greeted with offerings of bread, of milk, of fruit. Always, the image was the same. A woman at dawn, hands raised, heart open, her voice mingling with the breath of the new day. To the people, she was not above them. She was among them. Yet she stood at the threshold where few dared to linger. For between night and day lies a silence too deep for most to bear. But the Dawn Priestess bore it. She entered that silence, and through her, the people felt safe to awaken. The sky now brightened. Shades of pink, soft and tender, touched the clouds. The air grew lighter, and the first warmth brushed the earth. The Dawn Priestess closed her eyes. She imagined the light flowing not only over the hills, but through the hearts of the people who slept. She saw children stirring in their beds, mothers stretching, fathers slowly rising to the day. She whispered to the light, "Enter them gently. Bring them peace before the labors. Bring them clarity before the burdens." Her words were not commands. They were like seeds scattered into the wind. Simple, gentle, trusting the earth to receive. There was more than prayer in her ritual. There was rhythm. Each movement of her hand, each breath of her song followed the slow unfolding of dawn. She would lift the bowl of water, letting the sunlight spill into it. She would anoint her forehead, then the earth. She would turn to the four directions, offering silence to each. To the east, where light was born. To the south, where warmth would grow. To the west, where day would rest. To the north, where stars would return. The villagers later said that this kept balance. that no corner of the earth felt forgotten, that all directions of life were honored. When the sun rose fully, she returned to the village. The people were awake now. Fires were kindled, pots were stirred, laughter echoed in courtyards. They would glance at her with quiet gratitude. They would see in her face the glow of dawn as if she carried it back with her, and they felt reassured. The day had begun well because it had been welcomed with care. No one feared the unknown of the morning, for she had already walked ahead of them into the light. There is something eternal in her story. Even now, as you listen, resting in your bed, the image of the dawn priestess lingers. She stands not only in old villages, but in the quiet of every sunrise. Whenever the sky shifts from darkness to gold, her presence is there. A reminder that every day is not a repetition, but a rebirth, a small creation given again with tenderness. And you too are part of that rhythm. Your breath rises like the sun, soft and steady. Your body rests like the earth, receiving warmth. Your thoughts drift like clouds, slowly moving without rush. The ancients believed that the soul was like the horizon, half in the world of dreams, half in the world of waking. The dawn priestess tended this horizon in spirit. She reminded them that beginnings do not need haste, that the first step of a journey is as important as the journey itself, that to pause at the threshold, even for a breath, brings strength for what lies ahead. And so she became not only a ritual figure, but a teaching, a living symbol of patience, of gentle courage, of soft beginnings. The wind stirs again, the last traces of night vanish, and the world is fully awake. The dawn priestess lays aside her bowl, her task complete until tomorrow. She returns quietly, without pride, without fanfare, for dawn is not hers to keep. It is hers only to greet. And the people know, as they begin their day, that what has been greeted with love will carry love forward. As you rest here, in your own night, you too are at a threshold, between waking and sleep, between thought and dream. The story of the dawn priestess is a mirror for you. She welcomes the light of day, as you welcome the quiet of night. Both are beginnings. Both are gentle. Let your breath slow. Let your heart rest. You are safe in this passage. The horizon glows softly in your mind. The bowl of water reflects golden light. A song hums, so faint, you can almost hear it. The dawn priestess steps away, her figure fading into the brightness. But her presence remains, like warmth in the air, like peace in the soul. Now drift onward, as the stars return in your dreams. Let the horizon of sleep open before you. The story lingers, but you may rest, for every night has its own dawn, and every dawn has its own priestess. The desert night is quiet. The sand lies still, silvered by moonlight. A hush rests over the land, broken only by the whisper of wind along stone walls. In the distance, torches flicker at the gates of a temple. Their flames sway gently, like reeds beside a river. Beyond them, the temple of Isis waits, its columns tall, its carvings etched with the stories of gods and stars. Here, the night carries not only silence, but presence. It is said that the goddess Isis drifts through the air like fragrance, unseen yet felt, tender as the brush of linen against skin. Her mysteries are many, veiled in symbols, yet her essence is soft. Mother, healer, protector. You are invited to drift closer, carried by the quiet. The desert air wraps around you, warm yet gentle, guiding you to the threshold where devotion has lived for thousands of years. The temple doors open not with noise, but with stillness. Inside, the air is cool, scented faintly with lotus and myrrh. Candles line the walls, their flames swaying like small prayers made of light. At the center stands her image, a tall figure, carved in stone, crowned with the lunar disk and horns. Her arms extend outward, wings spread wide. Wings not of flight, but of shelter. Wings that promise safety as a mother gathers her child. The priestesses step forward. Their robes are white, flowing like river mist. They move with rhythm, slow and steady, like the pulse of the Nile itself. They carry bowls of water, jars of milk, small baskets of bread and flowers, each offering laid gently before the goddess. Their voices rise in chant, a sound low and melodic, not sharp, not hurried, but a lullaby for the divine. The air seems to hum with them, as if the temple stones themselves remember. Isis in the old stories is the keeper of many roles. She is the healer, whispering cures into the wind. She is the magician, weaving spells with the language of stars. She is the mother, whose devotion brought her husband Osiris back from death, and she is the protector, shielding her son Horus as he grew to carry light into the world. Her story is woven with sorrow, yet also with endless tenderness. When Osiris was torn apart, scattered across the earth, she searched every corner of land and water. Her tears fell into the Nile, swelling its waters. Her breath called the pieces home. To the people, this was more than a tale. It was a promise that what is lost can be gathered, that what is broken can be mended, that love does not end, even when the body does. In the temple, the priestesses lift their arms. The chant deepens, soft as the cooing of doves. They move like waves rising and falling. The air fills with rhythm, like the heartbeat of the desert. One priestess draws back a thin veil of linen, revealing a small shrine within the shrine. Here rests the hidden image of the goddess, a smaller figure cloaked in fabric, crowned with gold. Only a few may look upon it, for Isis is known as the Veiled One, keeper of mysteries too deep for plain sight. The veil itself is sacred. It reminds the people that truth is layered, that wisdom unfolds slowly, like the dawn lifting its light over the horizon, like the moon growing full in patient phases. The goddess speaks not in words, but in symbols. The star Sirius rising in the sky, a sign of her presence, a herald of the Nile's flood. The wings, a promise of safety, wrapping the earth in her embrace. The throne-shaped crown upon her head, a reminder that she is the seat of power, the foundation of kingship itself. But beyond symbols lies feeling. When the people prayed, they felt her not as image, but as comfort. A gentle hand resting on the shoulder, a quiet strength within the heart. A mother who does not leave, even in the silence. The night deepens in the temple. The chants grow slower, softer, like a lullaby winding toward stillness. The bowls of water are lifted, and the priestesses sprinkle droplets into the air. They fall like rain, like blessings carried on the breath of the goddess, each drop a reminder that Isis is healer, that wounds of body and spirit can close, that tears can be changed into rivers that nourish life. Stories tell of her gathering herbs, whispering spells, binding wounds with gentle hands. Her knowledge was said to come from the stars, a wisdom too vast to be written. And so her priestesses healed not only with medicines, but with song, with ritual, with faith that the goddess moved through their touch. Isis was also devotion itself. Her love for Osiris was eternal, crossing even death's horizon. Her love for Horus was fierce, shielding him from harm, raising him to bring balance to the land. For the people, her love was a mirror. It reminded them that devotion endures beyond hardship, that love is not broken by time, that every bond of care carries a spark of the divine. To sleep under her gaze was to feel safe. To rise under her sun was to feel blessed. To live in her memory was to feel whole. The priestesses now bow low. Their hands rest upon the ground, their foreheads touching the stone. Not in fear, but in reverence, for Isis was not distant. She was mother, present in every life, as near as breath itself. The torches dim. The chants fade into silence. The temple glows faintly, holding the warmth of prayer. Outside, the desert wind carries the song onward, far across dunes, far across rivers, far across time. Even now it drifts, reaching ears that long for peace, hearts that long for comfort. You rest within that song. It cradles you like soft fabric. It enfolds you like wings of light. You too carry veils within your soul. Layers of memory, layers of dream, layers of mystery. They do not need to be rushed or torn away. They open in their own time with gentleness. Like Isis herself, you hold within you the power to gather what is scattered, to mend what feels broken, to carry love through the passages of change. Now the temple doors close, the torches fade, the desert night returns to stillness, but the presence of Isis remains, in the hush of the air, in the rhythm of your breath, in the soft unfolding of your dreams. Let yourself rest beneath her wings. Let her devotion cradle you, like a mother cradles her child. You are safe. You are held. Drift onward now as the night deepens. The veils of Isis close softly around you, not as barriers, but as blankets of peace. Sleep beneath her gaze, as the stars keep watch above. And when the light returns, know that her wings will rise with it, carrying you gently into the day. The night lingers over the mountains of Greece. The air is cool, touched by the faint perfume of pine and wild herbs. Above, the sky is scattered with stars, each one burning softly, like lamps lit by unseen hands. At the foot of the slopes lies a sacred place, a temple resting upon stone steps where silence is kept like treasure. This is the dwelling of the oracle, a place where the breath of the gods drifts through the air, veiled in mystery, veiled in time. You drift toward it slowly, like a traveler moving in a dream. Each step lighter than the last, each breath deeper, calmer. The world quiets, until only the temple remains before you, glowing faintly beneath the moon. The people of Greece once believed the earth itself could speak, that in certain places, cracks in the ground opened not only to stone but to spirit. From these hidden veins, vapors rose, invisible, sweet, and strange. To breathe them was to step between worlds. To breathe them was to hear what lay beyond the veil. The oracle was chosen to walk this threshold. She was not a queen nor a warrior, yet her voice carried further than any soldier's cry, for it was believed that when she spoke, the gods spoke through her. She was called the Pythia, guardian of Apollo's shrine at Delphi. Her words carried the warmth of the sun god, yet also the weight of shadow. Kings and wanderers alike came to kneel before her, seeking guidance, seeking light upon their path. The temple rests upon the slope of Mount Parnassus. Olive trees line the way, their silver leaves whispering in the night breeze. Steps worn by centuries rise toward the holy space. You imagine pilgrims climbing, their feet dusty, their hearts trembling with wonder. At the center stands the chamber, dimly lit, walls carved with stories of gods, of battles, of music and prophecy. Here the oracle sits upon a simple tripod, a seat of bronze and wood. Beneath her the sacred chasm breathes, releasing its unseen vapors. The air is thick, shimmering faintly as though touched by dream. She inhales, her body stills, her eyes half close. Her lips part, but no ordinary speech escapes them. Instead, her voice trembles, slow and measured, carrying the tone of something not entirely human. To those who listened, her words were more than sounds. They were symbols drifting like smoke, sometimes clear, sometimes hidden, like the wind through reeds, shaping melodies beyond the control of breath. Kings would bow low, waiting for her voice. Farmers would carry simple questions, hoping for comfort. Travelers asked where their road might lead, and through her the divine answered softly, mysteriously, as though the future were a tapestry only partly revealed. Her role was not easy. The oracle was a vessel, her body holding the breath of gods. She gave herself to silence, to solitude, to the discipline of sacred life. She was seen not as her own, but as belonging to the temple, a bridge of flesh and spirit. When she inhaled the vapors, time seemed to bend. Her voice quivered like leaves in a hidden current. Her body swayed as if carried by an unseen hand. Those who watched did not fear. They bowed deeper, listening to every syllable. They knew these were not words of chance. They were echoes of eternity. The oracle was said to speak the very breath of Apollo. Apollo, the god of music, light, and prophecy. His presence was fire and harmony, golden and clear. Yet his words came through a human vessel, softened by the fragility of mortal voice. This meeting of human and divine was delicate. The oracle did not thunder. She whispered, and her whisper could guide kingdoms. Legends tell of kings who asked if they should wage war. Her reply, wrapped in mystery, could change the fate of nations. She did not offer certainty, but reflection. Her words bent like reeds, leaving space for choice, for thought, for humility. And so, pilgrims left her temple not with commands, but with riddles. Not with orders, but with mirrors. For prophecy was never a straight road. It was a path of mist, guiding the soul to walk carefully with reverence. The oracle's chamber was dim. The flame of oil lamps swayed against stone walls, carving shadows like painted figures. The floor cool beneath her bare feet, her breath slow, mingling with the unseen vapors. To watch her was to watch a woman drift into dream while still awake, her face serene, her voice distant, her spirit lifted beyond the ordinary world. She became the breath itself, a song carried on invisible air. Some said she was guided by birds, that ravens circled above the temple carrying signs, that the rustle of wings in the trees was itself a prophecy. Birds were seen as messengers, bridging earth and sky, much like the oracle herself. Others said she was touched by the laurel leaves. Priestesses would place them upon her lap or burn them as incense. The laurel, sacred to Apollo, held the scent of clarity. Its crackle in the flame was like the god's own whisper. Every element of the ritual carried meaning. The tripod, stability. The chasm of mystery. The flame, illumination. The breath, spirit. For the Greeks, to visit the oracle was not only to seek answers, it was to be reminded of mystery, that life is not entirely known nor entirely hidden, that the future is both written and unwritten, flowing like water, shaped by unseen hands. The oracle embodied this balance. She was human, yet divine, mortal, yet timeless, rooted in stone, yet carried by wind. Now the chamber grows quiet, the vapors thin, the torches dim. The oracle bows her head, her voice falling back into silence. Her breath returns to the rhythm of the ordinary. The pilgrims leave in silence, carrying words that will echo in their hearts for years. Some will find triumph, others sorrow. Yet all will remember the stillness, the sound of a woman breathing the breath of gods. And you, resting now, are also touched by that stillness. The oracle's breath drifts through time, reaching you like a soft wind through the window of your night. It does not command you. It does not hurry you. It simply whispers, gentle, steady. You too stand at a threshold between waking and sleep, between the world of thought and the world of dream. And here, the oracle speaks again, not in riddles, but in comfort. Her message is simple. You are safe to rest. You are safe to drift. Let the stars above become your temple. Let your breath be the sacred vapor. Let your heart be the seat of prophecy, whispering only peace. Close your eyes to the world's noise. Open them inward to silence. There the divine speaks without words. There you will find rest. The oracle fades into the shadows of her temple. Her presence lingers in the cool air like incense that does not leave. Her whisper remains, carried on the breath of the night. Now drift onward, softly, as the stars return. The oracle's breath is with you, guiding you, cradling you, until dream itself receives you. The desert sky opens wide, velvet dark, carrying countless stars. They shimmer softly, like beads scattered across a quiet cloth of night. The air is warm, yet gentle, brushed by winds that move like whispers across the sand. In the distance, torches glow against clay walls. A temple rises, shaped by hands that knew devotion, shaped by hearts that longed for the divine. It is the house of Inanna, queen of heaven and earth. Here, beneath the wide Mesopotamian sky, her daughters dance in sacred rhythm. You drift closer, slow as a dream, each step quiet, each breath deepening. The sound of drums floats across the night, steady and low, like the heartbeat of the earth itself. Inanna was more than a goddess. She was the pulse of life, the fire of passion, the cool shadow of the underworld. She ruled over love and over war, over the bloom of gardens and the silence of graves. She carried both joy and sorrow, both ascent and descent. Her daughters, the priestesses, lived as her mirrors. They clothed themselves in soft linen, woven with symbols of the stars. Around their arms and necks shimmered bronze and lapis lazuli, catching the torchlight, glimmering like rivers in the dark. They sang not with words alone, but with movements of their bodies. Every gesture was a prayer, every step a memory of the goddess. Their dance told the story of Inanna's journey, her rise to the heavens, her descent into shadow, her return reborn. The night deepens. Candles flicker in clay lamps, casting circles of gold upon the temple walls. The air carries the fragrance of myrrh and cedar smoke. You hear the faint rustle of feet across stone, the gentle sound of bracelets chiming as arms sway in rhythm. The priestesses begin their sacred dance. Their bodies flow like water, slow and graceful, tracing patterns that echo the cycles of moon and sun. They move as rivers move, as stars move, as time itself moves, without hurry, without end. Their song rises, soft and low, weaving with the drums. It is not a song for ears alone, but for hearts half asleep, for souls leaning toward dream. They tell of Inanna's descent. The goddess, radiant with jewels, left the high heavens to walk the path below. At each gate of the underworld, she removed an ornament, an adornment, a sign of her power. Her crown, her necklace, her rings, her robe. One by one, the symbols fell away until she stood bare, humble, silent before the Queen of Shadows. The priestesses mirror this in their dance. A bracelet slipped from the wrist, a veil lowered to the ground, each movement a surrender, a reminder that all who live must lay down what they carry, until nothing remains but the soul itself. Yet the dance does not end in sorrow. For Inanna, after her time in the depths, rose again. She returned with wisdom. She returned with compassion deeper than before. Her story was not of loss alone, but of renewal. Her daughters embody this cycle, circling, swaying, rising once more into light. To watch them is to feel the balance of all things. Love and shadow, power and surrender, life and death woven like threads of a single cloth. The temple hums with this rhythm. Even the stones seem to breathe with it. The torches sway, casting shadows that dance beside the women, as if spirits themselves joined in the ritual. You find yourself breathing with them, slow, steady, gentle. Inhale with their rising arms. Exhale with their falling hands. Your body relaxes, softened by the cadence of ancient prayer. The daughters of Inanna were keepers of sacred knowledge. They understood the cycles of the moon, the waters, the seasons of the fields. They tended to rituals of fertility, of harvest, of birth. Through song and dance, they reminded their people that life was a circle, not a line. That descent was not an ending, but a doorway. Their temple was more than stone. It was a living place, breathing with the footsteps of generations. Walls etched with offerings, floors polished by countless bare feet, altars kissed by oil and flame. Here, women gave voice to mystery. Here they became both vessel and flame, echo and song. Inanna herself was known as the morning star, shining brightly in the dawn sky. Yet she was also the evening star, glowing low at twilight. Her dual nature was reflected in her daughters. They carried both softness and strength, both tenderness and fierce will. They were guardians of balance. Their dance, though slow, carried immense power. Each turn of the hand, each curve of the body was an offering, not to please an audience, but to align the world with its sacred rhythm. For to the people of Mesopotamia, the movements of the priestesses were not performance. They were prophecy. They were living prayer, weaving unseen threads between heaven and earth. The drums grow softer now. The priestesses slow their steps, moving like shadows in lamplight, their breath visible in the cool night air, rising like incense toward the stars. The story nears its end. The goddess has descended, she has returned, she has become whole. And so too the dancers close their circle, bowing gently toward the altar of Inanna. The silence that follows is full of presence, full of stillness, full of peace. Even the night itself seems hushed, as if listening for the last echo of the sacred song. You stand at the edge of this vision, held by its calm. The scent of incense lingers. The stars overhead glimmer steadily, like guardians of the story. The cool earth beneath feels steady, grounding, gentle. The daughters of Inanna rest now, their dance complete. Yet their presence lingers in the air, like ripples upon still water. Their rhythm remains in your breath. Their quiet strength rests in your chest, and you too are part of their circle. You too know the cycles of descent and return. You too are held by the balance of light and shadow. Now the temple fades into dream. The torches dim, the drums fall silent. The night sky expands once more, carrying you on its endless calm. You drift softly, as though carried by unseen hands. Your body loosens, your mind quiets, your spirit rests. The story of Inanna and her daughters flows gently around you, not demanding, not urgent, only steady, like a river that never ceases. You are safe within this flow. You are carried within its embrace. There is nothing to do, nothing to hold, only to breathe, only to rest. Let us drift onward now into the deeper silence. The daughters of Inanna remain behind, yet their whispers guide you still. Like starlight, faint yet constant, leading you into dream. Now rest as the stars return. Now sleep as the night becomes whole again. The evening sky over Rome glows with fading gold. The day is ended and shadows stretch across marble streets. Fountains murmur in the quiet, their waters catching the last threads of light. A hush settles over the city, soft as a blanket. At the heart of the forum rises a sacred temple. Its round walls hold a flame that never dies. Here the Vestal virgins keep watch. Here the empire itself breathes through fire. The hearth glows steady, like the heartbeat of a living world. It flickers gently, neither fierce nor dim, but eternal. This flame is not only of wood and spark. It is memory, promise, and spirit woven into one. You drift closer, as if carried by the quiet rhythm of evening. Step slow, breath deep, you approach the place of guardianship, the circle of women who serve the flame. The Vestals were chosen as children, girls between 6 and 10 years old, led away from their families, brought to the temple with soft ceremony. There, their lives would be bound to the goddess Vesta, keeper of the sacred fire. For 30 years they lived as guardians. 10 years to learn, 10 years to serve, 10 years to teach those who followed. Each cycle shaped them, steady as the turning of the seasons. They lived not as ordinary women, but as symbols of purity and trust. Their task was simple in action, yet vast in meaning. Keep the fire alive. Never let the flame go out. The temple itself was round, like the earth, like the womb, like the circle of eternity. Inside, the air always carried the scent of smoke and warm ash. The glow of the fire lit the curved walls, making them dance with shadows. The Vestals tended the flame with care. They fed it with oak and pine, wood chosen with reverence. They stirred the embers with quiet hands, so that life continued within the glow. When the fire grew, they whispered thanks. When it dimmed, they leaned close, breathing gently, coaxing it awake again. Around the hearth, silence often reigned. Yet it was not an empty silence. It was full of presence, full of devotion, full of unseen company. The people of Rome believed this fire held their city together. As long as it burned, Rome endured. The fate of the empire rested in the soft hands of the Vestals. They were not warriors. They carried no swords, raised no shields. Their strength was quiet, their guardianship invisible. Yet kingdoms leaned upon their watch. Each night, as citizens slept, the Vestals kept their vigil. Each dawn, as markets stirred and voices rose, the fire already burned, steady and faithful. The rhythm of their care was the rhythm of Rome itself. The goddess they served, Vesta, was the spirit of the hearth. Every home carried her image in its small fire. Every meal cooked, every family gathered, every warmth shared. Vesta lived there. But in the temple, her heart was eternal flame, and the Vestals were her hands. Their lives were set apart. They walked the streets with honor, untouchable by harm, protected by law and reverence. They could free prisoners with a word. They could turn aside punishment with a glance, for they were seen not as mere women, but as vessels of the sacred. Yet this honor came with weight. If the fire ever went out, it was believed to be a sign of danger, of the goddess's displeasure. The Vestals carried the burden of keeping Rome safe in every flicker of flame. Tonight, the temple glows with its quiet fire. You watch as one of the priestesses kneels. Her face is calm, her eyes lowered in reverence. She lays another piece of wood upon the embers. The flame accepts it, rising gently, brightening the shadows. Another Vestal brushes away the ashes, her movements slow, unhurried. She hums under her breath, a sound low as a lullaby, almost lost in the crackle of the fire. The song is not for people. It is for the flame itself, for the goddess who dwells within. Together, they move like guardians in a dream. Their white robes shimmer faintly in the glow, untouched by night, untouched by time. The city beyond the temple stirs with life. Merchants close their stalls, soldiers return from duty. Children drift to sleep in homes warmed by smaller fires. Each household flame is like a reflection, a mirror of the great hearth guarded by the Vestals. It is as though the temple fire breathes outward, through every street, every dwelling, every hand that reaches toward warmth. And you too are part of this circle. The flame touches you, though far away in dream. Its light rests in your chest, quiet and steady, keeping you safe as night deepens. The life of a Vestal was not without longing. They gave up marriage, family, and the everyday rhythms of ordinary women. Yet their sacrifice was seen as sacred, a gift not just to the goddess, but to Rome itself. Their devotion became their family. The flame became their child. The temple became their home. And so they lived, decade after decade, bound not by chains but by sacred duty. In their silence was strength. In their gentleness was power. In their watchfulness was empire. Now the night grows still. The stars above Rome shimmer faintly, silver scattered across velvet. The streets quiet, the fountains soften. The wind rests in the trees. But in the temple, the fire glows, unchanged. A Vestal adjusts her robe, rises slowly, and takes her seat beside the hearth. She will keep watch until dawn. Her sisters will join her in turn. The flame will not falter. It will not sleep. You breathe with the rhythm of the fire. Inhale as it rises, exhale as it softens. Each flicker mirrors your breath. Each glow calms your body. The flame becomes your heartbeat, steady, soothing, eternal. The temple fades into silence now. The glow of the fire lingers in your memory, soft and steady. It is not gone. It remains with you, deep within, like an ember carried into dream. The Vestals continue their vigil. Their robes whisper as they move, their voices low as they pray, and you drift with them, resting in their circle of devotion. The eternal flame hums in the distance, safe, unbroken, unending. It warms your sleep, it steadies your breath, it guides your spirit through the night. Let us drift onward now, beyond the marble streets, beyond the temple walls, into deeper stillness. The fire burns on without you, yet within you also. Its glow follows you, gentle and calm, into the quiet of rest. Now rest as the flame remains. Now sleep as the eternal hearthlight carries you deeper into dream. The desert waits, silent, endless, and still. A sea of golden sands rests beneath the deep velvet of night. Above, the stars shimmer like tiny flames, each one carrying a memory, each one a prayer. The air is cool now, the heat of the day long faded. Only the faint breath of wind drifts across the dunes, shaping them into soft, flowing waves. In this vast and open silence, the desert holds voices, ancient voices, gentle voices, the voices of women who carried song, who carried story, who carried the spirit of their people across endless horizons. Their words did not live on stone tablets. They did not carve their prayers into walls of temples. They placed them instead into sound, into rhythm, into chant, into the music of their breathing. The desert itself became their temple, the night sky their roof, the sand their floor, and the stars their eternal listeners. You may imagine a circle of firelight. The flames are small, yet steady, their glow rising and falling against the cool night air. Around the fire, women gather. They are wrapped in soft robes, the color of earth and sky. Children lean against them, eyes heavy, already drifting between waking and dreaming. Men rest close by, listening quietly, but the women's voices are what lead the night. Soft chants rise like water moving over stone, slow, gentle, endless. Their songs are more than melodies. They are vessels. Each chant carries the story of a tribe, a memory of migration, a birth, a death, a promise. The women are keepers of these memories, protectors of what must not be forgotten. As stars cross the sky, their voices keep time. As the fire glows, their voices keep warmth. As the desert stretches on without end, their voices keep home. In one song, a mother whispers of wells hidden deep in the earth. She sings of water that waits beneath the sand, a reminder that life rests even in emptiness. Her voice drifts like a breeze through palm leaves, carrying comfort, carrying hope. Another song tells of the stars above. She names them as guardians, as eyes of ancestors, watching from far beyond. Her chant rises and falls like the flight of a bird, steady, unbroken. Each note carries the tribe forward, like a step upon a journey. And still another woman sings of the wind, the way it moves sand, the way it erases footprints, the way it carries the cries of those who have walked before. Her chant reminds the listeners that nothing is ever lost. Every sound, every prayer, every name spoken into the night air becomes part of the desert itself. It lingers, unseen, yet always there. You may imagine the rhythm of a drum, not loud, never hurried, a hollow sound, deep and calm, like the beating of a heart. Each beat is a reminder of life, each pause a reminder of silence. The women sing with the drum, their voices weaving in and out, like threads of a single cloth. Together, the sound becomes more than song. It becomes shelter. It becomes memory. It becomes sacred space. The children listening will grow. They will travel far across sands and stars, but the songs will remain inside them, guiding their steps, even when the women's voices have faded. This is how memory moves in the desert, not written in stone, not bound by paper, but sung into breath, carried forward in living bodies. A scripture that never sleeps. Imagine yourself sitting there at the edge of the firelight. The sand beneath you is cool. The stars above are countless. You do not need to understand every word. The rhythm alone carries you. The melody, slow and steady, begins to cradle your mind. Each note is like a soft hand upon your shoulder. Each pause is like a deep breath, settling you, quieting you. The fire flickers. The desert hums its endless silence, and the voices continue. They chant of beginnings when the world was still young. They chant of rivers that once ran strong, carving valleys, feeding palms. They chant of love and of the joining of souls, like two paths meeting beneath the same star. Every story they tell is not only of the past, but of the present, and of the future. The songs do not end. They flow, they circle, they return again and again like the turning of the stars above. The desert, though empty, is never truly silent. Even when the fire burns low, even when the voices fall to whispers, the songs remain. The sand holds them, the wind carries them, the stars echo them. They live on, soft and endless, like waves upon a shore of light. Now, imagine the last song of the night. The fire is nearly gone, only red embers glowing faintly in the dark. The children are asleep, heads resting gently, breaths slow and steady. The men lie back, wrapped in cloaks, eyes closed, bodies still. Only a few women remain awake, their voices quiet, barely more than a breath. Their chant is like a lullaby, slow and low. It tells of dreams. It tells of the soul's journey into sleep. It tells of safe passage, guided by stars, guided by ancestors, guided by love. Their words do not need to be remembered. Their rhythm alone carries peace. Each sound folds gently into silence. Each silence folds gently into rest. And as you listen, you too drift. The fire fades. The stars remain. The voices soften, blending with the night wind. They become part of the desert itself. A memory, a prayer, a song without end. Let yourself rest in their sound. Let yourself drift into the calm they carried across centuries. The desert holds you. The stars watch you. The voices guide you gently, endlessly. Now rest as the sands grow still. Now sleep as the stars return. Now dream as the voices in the desert sing softly on. The island lies quiet. Crete, surrounded by the slow rocking of the sea. Its shores are silver beneath the light of the moon. Waves move in and out like a long and gentle breath. The night is calm, the air touched by the salt of the waters and the perfume of earth warmed by the sun. Olive trees stand still, their leaves whispering softly when the breeze passes through. And deep within the island, in chambers carved with care, flickers of lamplight touch painted walls. Here, the serpent queens once stood. Women robed in long skirts, their arms lifted, their hands carrying living serpents. They were not feared, they were honored. The snake in their palms was not a creature of terror but a companion of mystery. A guide of the underworld, a keeper of wisdom hidden in the roots of the earth. In the great halls of Knossos, the air was heavy with incense. Clay jars lined the walls. Painted dolphins leapt across plastered ceilings. The echo of footsteps moved through pillars painted in red and black. And within the shrine, women held the serpents close, their bodies still, their gaze unbroken. They were priestesses of the hidden earth. They were daughters of the great goddess. They were guardians of life's endless turning. Imagine the soft sound of bronze bells tied to their waists, chiming with each gentle step. Hear the faint hiss of the serpents, winding and unwinding, their movements smooth as water. The priestesses stood with calm, steady breath. Their presence was a prayer. Their stillness was a flame. The serpent in their hands coiled and uncoiled, a mirror of cycles that turn forever. Like the seasons, like the tides, like the breath that enters and leaves the body. Each coil was a circle of time, each movement a reminder of return. Life falls into darkness, yet it rises again. The seed sleeps in the soil, yet it blooms once more. The serpent does not end. It only sheds its skin, renews itself, and begins again. The people of Crete saw in this creature no fear, but deep knowledge. They saw the serpent slip into cracks of the earth, vanish, then emerge again. It was a guide between worlds, above and below, death and rebirth. In the hands of the priestess, it was not threat, but blessing. It was the whisper of the earth herself. You may picture the shrine lit by oil lamps, their flames steady, their glow golden. Shadows danced across the walls as chants rose softly. The women's voices were low, rhythmic, flowing like water in hidden caverns. The serpents swayed in their hands, their tongues tasting the air, their scales shining faintly in the light. Every sound, every motion felt like part of a single breath. The chamber became a living heart, pulsing with mystery. Some say these women called upon the goddess of the earth, the great mother who nourished fields, who fed the people, who gave life and received life back into her soil. She was Rhea, she was Gaia, she was the deep womb from which all things came forth, and the serpent, her child, was her secret voice. The priestesses wore skirts layered like waves, flowing around them as they moved. Their hair was dark and coiled, adorned with small beads. Their eyes shone with a calm power, like still waters reflecting the moon. They were queens not by throne but by presence, by the trust of their people, by the mystery they carried in their hands. The island itself seemed to breathe with them. The hills rolled like sleeping bodies. The caves opened like mouths of the earth. The sea circled like a vast and endless serpent, coiling the land in its embrace. Everywhere, the mystery of return, of endings and beginnings, shimmered like the soft reflection of moonlight on the waves. Listen now to the meaning in their silence. The serpent queens did not need loud words. They did not preach nor command. Their wisdom was in symbols, in gesture, in presence. The serpent rising in their hands told the story without speech. It said all life is bound in circles. It said to descend is not to be lost. It said the earth cradles what it takes, and from that cradle, life begins again. In the quiet halls, children once watched them, eyes wide, hearts steady. The priestess would smile softly, her serpent coiling close to her wrist as if listening. The child would see not danger but calm, not fear but wonder, and the lesson would live in their memory, not as command but as rhythm, as something known deep in the body, as natural as the turning of the moon. Outside the palace, the fields stretched wide. Grain moved like waves in the wind. Sheep wandered on the hillsides. Fishermen cast nets into the sea, and above it all, the mountains stood strong, their peaks touched by drifting clouds. Every part of the land was tied to the mystery. Every seed, every wave, every birth, every death, all part of the coiling circle, like the serpent's endless path. In the stillness of night, when the people slept, the serpents themselves roamed the stones. They slid through cracks, through gardens, through temples. They touched the soil with their bodies, connecting earth to earth, root to root. The people believed they carried messages, unseen words from the deep. The whisper of the goddess, moving silently, unseen, yet always near. Imagine now the quiet moment when the priestess lowers her arms. The serpent rests against her chest, still, calm, breathing with her. The fire burns low. The chamber grows quiet. The song fades into silence. Only the sound of the sea remains, its waves touching the shores beyond. In that silence, wisdom lingers. In that silence, the circle continues to turn. You too may feel the rhythm now, the rise and fall of your breath like the waves, the turning of thoughts, coiling and uncoiling like the serpent in her hands. The quiet renewal as each breath leaves and each breath returns again. The mystery is not far away. It is here, it is simple, it is endless. The serpent queens are gone from Crete. Their voices no longer echo in stone halls, yet their presence lingers, like the scent of incense in the air long after the flame has faded. Their wisdom still moves, soft and unseen, in the earth beneath our feet. The circle has not ended. It never ends. It turns quietly, forever. So let us rest with them now. Let the serpent coil softly and dream. Let the sea fold around the island in its embrace. Let the stars shine upon stone walls and painted dolphins, silent witnesses of ages gone. Let the breath slow. Let the body soften. Let the mystery cradle you. Now rest as the moon drifts higher. Now dream as the circle turns. Now sleep as the serpent queens watch in silence. The desert rests under a silver sky. The sands stretch wide, glowing pale in the light of the moon. Every grain catches the shimmer, like tiny mirrors laid across the earth. The night is cool, touched by a breeze that moves softly between the dunes. The stars burn clear, countless lamps hung in the deep blue, and there, upon a rise of stone, a temple stands. Its walls are pale as bone. Its roof opens to the sky. It is the moonlit temple, the house of the goddess who rules the night. Long ago, before the city lights, before the roads of stone, people looked upward for their guide. They followed the face of the moon. Her waxing and waning marked the passing of time. Her silver eye watched over hunters and herders, over mothers and children. When the moon was full, the fields were harvested. When she was dark, journeys began or ended. The moon was not only light. She was a presence, a goddess, a rhythm written in the sky. In Arabia, she was called many names. Some knew her as Al-Lat, the Lady of Power. Some whispered of Al-Uzza, shining star of strength. Some spoke of Manat, who measured destiny. But in all her forms she was light and darkness. She was the balance of night. She was the one who softened the edge of the world with her glow. The temple doors opened with the fall of evening. Torches were lit, though their flames were small beside the moon's radiance. Inside, the air smelled of frankincense and myrrh, smoke curling upward like silver threads. Priestesses walked in silence, their steps slow, their robes flowing like water. They lifted their hands toward the sky. Their voices rose in quiet chants, steady as a drumbeat hidden in the heart. The sound carried through the pillars, like wind moving through stone. At the center of the temple was no idol of wood, nor carving of stone. There was only the open roof. The goddess was not captured in form. She was the living moon above, radiant and whole. The priestesses stood beneath her light, bathed in her silver glow. Their eyes reflected her roundness. Their skin shone with her blessing. They were keepers of rhythm, watchers of her path. Imagine them standing in a circle, robes pale as the desert lilies. Their hands touch the air as if weaving unseen threads. Their voices flow together in one soft song. They are calling not to bring the moon down, but to rise toward her, to join her rhythm, to feel her turning, to align the body with her sky. The chant grows slow, then slower, until it becomes like breathing. Each note rests, each word falls like sand in an hourglass. The people came to the temple for many reasons. Farmers wished to know the right time to plant. Travelers prayed for safe paths across the desert. Mothers sought blessing for their children, and lovers left offerings beneath her glow, asking that the moon watch over their bond. All found comfort in her steady return, her soft rising, her endless cycle. For the moon teaches this: nothing is forever lost. She fades into darkness, but she returns. She grows thin, but she becomes whole again. She disappears from sight, yet her presence never leaves. So too with life, the priestesses would say. So too with love, with memory, with hope. All may pass, all may fall into shadow. But the circle turns, and the light returns. The temple itself seemed to breathe with her. The pillars shimmered with moonlight. The stones glowed faintly as if drinking her radiance. The altar held bowls of water, still and clear, reflecting her image perfectly. It was said that if one gazed into those waters on a night of the full moon, the goddess might whisper through the reflection, not with words, but with calmness, with a knowing that settled gently in the heart. Outside the temple, the desert was wide and still. Nomads gathered around fires, their camels resting nearby. Songs rose into the night, accompanied by the steady beat of drums. Even in those songs, the moon was present. She was named in verses. She was praised in rhythm. The people lived beneath her gaze, and they carried her light in their voices. The priestesses told stories of her power. They spoke of how she guided the tides of the distant seas, of how she lit the path of caravans crossing the sands, of how she cooled the night after the sun's fierce fire, and of how she cradled dreams, softening the sleep of children and elders alike. The moon was not far away. She was here, close, watching, soothing. You may picture a traveler arriving at the temple gates. His journey has been long, his feet heavy with sand. He bows his head, lays down a small gift, a handful of dates, a jar of milk. The priestess takes the offering with calm hands. She blesses him beneath the moon's light. No words are needed. The glow above is enough. The traveler leaves with steady steps, his heart lighter than before. The moon is not hurried. She does not rush across the sky. She takes her time, slow and sure, steady in her path. The people learned patience from her. They learned trust from her. Even when she was gone from the sky, they knew she would return. The desert may change, the sands may shift, but the moon remains. Now the night deepens. The chants of the priestesses soften. The torches burn lower. The incense thins into the cool air. The moon hangs high, her silver veil spread wide across the temple floor. The priestesses bow their heads, their robes brushing the stone. The song falls silent. Only the hush of the desert remains. Only the soft breath of the night lingers. You too may feel her calmness now. The way she moves slowly, silently, watching over the world. The way she returns, always with gentle certainty. Your breath follows her rhythm. Your thoughts, like clouds, drift across her sky. The body softens, like sand cooled beneath her light. The heart grows still, like a bowl of water reflecting her face. The moonlit temple fades with time, its stones now dust beneath the desert. But her light still shines. Her rhythm still guides. Her presence still softens the night. She has never left. She will never leave. Her cycle is unbroken. Her path is forever. Let us rest beneath her now. Let the silver glow fall across your dreams. Let the rhythm of her rising and falling carry you. Let her calmness cradle you. Now drift onward as the night deepens. Now sleep as the moon keeps watch. Now rest as the stars return. Across cultures, divine women served as midwives of life and death. guiding both birth cries and final breaths with equal tenderness. The night grows gentle. You find yourself resting in the hush of a timeless village, where stars gather like lanterns above a quiet desert plain. The air is warm, yet softened by a slow breeze that carries with it the scent of herbs, sage, myrrh, and wildflowers crushed beneath ancient footsteps. In the distance, a circle of women moves by torchlight, their shadows weaving on the walls of clay homes. Their voices hum in low tones like the sound of bees inside a hidden garden. These are the sacred midwives, keepers of thresholds, guardians of the first cry and the final sigh. Close your eyes to the village glow. Let the fire's flicker touch your skin in imagination. Feel the rhythm of their presence, ancient and patient, as if time itself rests in their palms. In the heart of Mesopotamia, midwives were honored as vessels of the goddess Ninhursag, mother of mountains and womb of all creatures. It was said that no birth, whether of human child or sacred king, unfolded without her breath woven into the work of women who guided life into the open air. These midwives carried clay bowls of water, reflecting moonlight like polished mirrors. They whispered words that seemed older than language, reminding the child's soul that the earth was ready to hold them. When a new infant opened its eyes, it was not only a family that rejoiced. The midwives knew it was the cosmos itself expanding, one more spark added to the eternal flame. Their hands did not simply pull life into being. Their touch connected heaven and soil, spirit and skin, silence and song. Across the sands of Egypt, in the shadow of temples carved with stories of gods, midwives invoked Hathor, the cow-eared goddess of motherhood. Her presence was called through rattles, soft clinking beads, and songs sung to the unborn. Women gathered with palms open, creating a circle of safety. They believed Hathor stood invisibly beside them, her gentle horns curving like the crescent moon, guiding the little one into the world of sunlight. It was said that even pharaohs, those crowned children of the gods, needed this sacred passage. No throne could be reached without the wet, trembling moment of first breath, caught carefully by midwives who knew how fragile the beginning always is. They held both power and tenderness, never separating one from the other. The sacred midwives did not belong only to birth. They walked equally at the edge of death. Among the people of ancient Greece, there were whispers of women who carried souls out of the body, just as others carried them into it. They were called psychopomps in hushed tones, but to families they were mothers of endings. When a final breath left the chest of the dying, these women placed oil on the lips, brushed cool water across the brow, and whispered prayers to Hecate, the goddess who guarded crossroads and transitions. To them, death was not a severing, but a second birth. The soul, like a child, was leaving one womb and entering another, the wide and endless embrace of the other world. The midwives of endings leaned close, as if listening for a new cry, though this one belonged not to lungs but to spirit. They held the silence after, as if holding a newborn in arms, unseen. In the lands of the Celts, under hills dotted with standing stones, the wise women of tribes were called in times of birth and burial alike. They believed that the veil between beginnings and endings was thin, almost like mist. A midwife who had touched the blood of birth could also touch the silence of death. Both were sacred, both were holy. By candle flame in darkened huts, these women told stories to mothers in labor, stories of rivers and forests, to ease the pain and keep the rhythm of breath steady. And by the same candle flame they sat by the dying, telling tales of the ancestors waiting across a shining bridge. Always their words were gentle, always their eyes held calm, for in their hearts they carried the truth. Life is not a single path but a circle, turning and turning again. You drift with them now, through centuries and across deserts, rivers, and mountains. Each land, each people, carried the memory of these sacred midwives. They were never queens of armies, never builders of palaces. Their crowns were woven from silence. Their thrones were low stools beside beds of straw and linen. Yet their power shaped empires, for no king or warrior was ever born without their guiding hands. In India, the midwife was seen as Shakti's servant, carrying divine energy into human form. Each laboring cry was met with murmured prayers to Parvati, mother of Ganesha, the remover of obstacles. The cutting of the cord was not only a physical act, but a spiritual one, freeing the child to step fully into the dance of karma. In Africa, beneath wide skies and the drumbeat of villages. Midwives painted their arms with white clay, symbols of the ancestors' blessing. They were said to carry the voices of spirits in their songs. When children entered the world, the midwives greeted them with sound, ululations rising into the night, calling both earth and sky to witness. And when elders prepared to pass on, those same voices rose again, sending the spirit safely home. The midwives were always near water. Sometimes it was the bowl of water placed at the bedside, sometimes a river outside the village, sometimes only the tears that fell from a mother's eyes. Water was their companion, the mirror between worlds. They knew that water carried memory and that every soul who arrived or departed left a ripple on its surface. By firelight, they watched. By moonlight, they listened. Their presence was the rhythm between breaths, and when others feared the unknown, they did not fear. For to them the unknown was not dark, it was simply another chamber of the same eternal house. You drift deeper now, hearing their whispers. Some voices sing in languages long forgotten. Others murmur in chants that sound like wind over stone. The rhythm slows your breath, slows your heart. You are held, as if in the arms of these sacred women who stand at the doorway of both worlds. Birth and death are no longer separate here. They are two halves of one circle, touched always by the same hands. The midwives smile softly as if to remind you. Every beginning already carries an ending, and every ending is only another beginning. There is no rush, no fear, only the quiet turning of the wheel. The stars above brighten, then soften again. Their light falls upon the ground like spilled milk, pale and tender. You rest beneath them, your spirit calm. You know that across time, across all lands, there will always be women standing by the thresholds, carrying songs, herbs, and gentle touch. The midwives of life, the midwives of death, the midwives of eternity. Now the circle of women fades into dream. The torches dim, the desert wind stills. Their voices become silence. Their shadows drift into the dark. Yet the peace they carry lingers, like a warm cloth laid upon your chest. Let the breath slow. Let the heart soften. The sacred midwives keep their watch, even here, even now. Rest in their care. Rest as the stars return. Egyptian temple dancers offered movement as prayer, their bodies weaving devotion into rhythm and sacred geometry. Night rests gently over the river. The Nile flows like a silver thread, its waters catching the moonlight in soft glimmers. Palm trees lean toward the current, their fronds whispering with the desert breeze. In the distance, a temple rises, stone warmed by the sun through day, now cooled by twilight's breath. Torches flicker at its gates, and the sound of quiet drums drifts across the still air. Inside, the temple waits in silence. Incense curls upward, like threads of smoke toward unseen heavens. Lamps glow along the walls, lighting painted stories of gods and goddesses, their eyes wide, their hands lifted in blessing. The chamber is not crowded, not loud. It is steady, calm, patient. It waits as the dancers of the Nile prepare to weave their prayer. They enter barefoot, their steps slow, their ankles kissed by bells that do not yet sound. Their robes shimmer like the surface of the river, white linen flowing with each soft movement. On their foreheads gleams gold, small discs catching the light, symbols of the radiant sun. In their hands they carry no weapons, no tools of labor, only the gift of their bodies, ready to shape devotion through motion. The priests bow their heads. The music begins, a low hum of drums steady as the heartbeat of the earth. The dancers breathe in, their chests rising like the horizon, and the prayer unfolds, not in words, but in the language of movement. Every step is sacred geometry. Every turn is a circle echoing the sun's eternal path. Every lifted hand is an offering to the sky, to the gods who dwell in radiance. The goddess Hathor, patroness of music and joy, is called into the chamber. She is the cow-eared goddess of love, yet she is also the golden one who fills the world with beauty. As the dancers sway, arms opening like branches, Hathor's spirit is imagined to dance within them. Their hips move in slow rhythm, echoing the cycles of birth, fertility, and growth. Their feet stamp softly against the floor, grounding the prayer into the stone beneath them. Each gesture tells a story. A hand reaching to the heavens becomes the rising sun. A slow bowing of the head becomes the fading night. A spiral traced by the body becomes the turning of the stars, the endless circle of return. The Nile itself is remembered in the dance, Its waters, flowing from distant mountains to the delta of life, are mirrored in the sway of the dancer's arms. Their movements ripple like currents, carrying abundance, carrying renewal. The watchers feel the river move within their hearts, steady and eternal, always returning, always flowing. The harvest depends on this rhythm. Life depends on this flow. And so the dancers carry not only their own devotion, but the prayers of the entire land. Their steps ask for fertile fields. Their turning calls for gentle floods. Their spirals invite balance between chaos and order. Through them, the people speak without speaking. Through them, the land offers itself to the divine. In one corner, small sistrums are shaken. Their metallic chimes shimmer through the chamber like starlight scattering across the night sky. The dancers respond to the sound, raising their arms, moving in unison, their bodies becoming both sky and river, both earth and spirit. It is not performance. It is not meant for applause. It is offering. It is prayer. Those who watch feel their own bodies slow, their breaths deepen. They are reminded that every movement, however small, can be sacred if carried with devotion. The tilt of a head, the lift of a hand, the closing of eyes, each one is a gesture of reverence. The dancers reveal this truth gently, beautifully, as they continue their prayer. At times their movements are quiet, barely more than a sway. At times their steps grow wider, their arms sweeping open as if to embrace the whole horizon. Yet always they return to stillness, to silence, to the steady rhythm that never falters. This rhythm is like the Nile itself, sometimes calm, sometimes rushing, but always faithful, always returning. The gods are believed to draw near in these moments. Osiris, lord of the afterlife, feels the echo of eternity in the circles they trace. Isis, mother and healer, hears her love carried in the turning of their bodies. Ra, the great sun, is greeted each time their arms lift upward, as if cradling his golden light. The dancers weave a bridge between earth and divine, not with stone, not with wood, but with the gentle, flowing geometry of their own forms. Centuries pass, yet the image endures. In every temple, across villages and cities, the dancers of the Nile are remembered. Their names may be forgotten, their footsteps faded, but the devotion they carried remains like fragrance in the air. Each step was a prayer that outlived the moment. Each gesture was a blessing poured into time. Some said that when the Nile's floodwaters rose just right, it was because the dancers had pleased the gods. Some believed that when the harvest was plentiful, it was their rhythm that had softened the heavens. Whether myth or memory, their presence lingered in every earthen jar of grain, in every handful of dates, in every sip of water drawn from the sacred river. They were not queens, yet they moved like queens of silence. They wore no crowns, yet their crowns were woven from rhythm and light. Their legacy was not written in stone, but in the bodies they guided into reverence. In the hearts they softened with devotion. You drift with them now. The chamber is warm with torchlight. The air is heavy with incense, but light with movement. The drums continue, steady as breathing. The dancers turn in slow circles, their shadows following, stretching, folding into the temple walls. The hum of the sistrum shakes again, like silver rain. The air trembles with holiness. You feel as though you are also moving, swaying with them, your body light, your breath slow. You are part of the prayer. You are part of the offering. The temple fades, yet the rhythm lingers.
It is the rhythm of your own heart, steady and calm.
The dance does not end. It only changes form, becoming the stillness that carries you deeper into rest. Now the dancers bow their heads, their arms lowering like the sun sinking at dusk. The drums soften, then fade. Silence fills the chamber, wide and gentle. Torches flicker, then quiet. The air cools, and the temple rests again, holding the memory of motion. The dancers of the Nile step back into shadow, their work complete. Yet the peace they left remains, steady as the river, patient as the stars. Let your breath soften. Let the silence cradle you. The prayer of the dancers is still moving, even here, even now. Let us drift onward, deeper into the night, rest, as the stars return. In Celtic lands, priestesses tended oak groves, whispering with the wind, shaping rituals in harmony with forest and stone. The night falls gently upon the hills. Mist drapes itself across the valleys, pale and silver, as if the land is breathing in sleep. Above, the sky stretches wide, deep with stars, their quiet light filtering through drifting clouds. The air carries the scent of damp earth, moss, and wildflowers, mingled with the faint smoke of distant hearths. In the heart of this land lies a grove. Its trees are ancient oaks, their trunks broad and weathered, their roots reaching deep into the soil like veins of memory. Branches rise like cathedral arches, weaving together into a canopy where moonlight rests in soft pools. The grove is still, yet alive. The wind moves through the leaves with a voice like whispers, carrying secrets older than memory itself. This is the dwelling place of the priestesses, the guardians of the grove, women who walk with the rhythms of the earth, who listen not with ears alone, but with hearts attuned to stone, stream, and star. They move quietly between the trees, their robes the color of mist, their steps soft upon the moss. Each carries a staff of oak, polished by hand, crowned with sprigs of leaves. Around their necks hang simple charms, stones, carved wood, feathers, tokens gathered from the earth itself. By day, they guide the people with counsel, healing, and blessing. But by night, their work is deeper, quieter, woven into the silence of the forest. Here, words are few. Here, presence is prayer. A fire burns at the center of the grove, small and steady. Its flames flicker golden against the bark of the surrounding trees, sending sparks to join the stars above. The priestesses circle it slowly, their voices rising in chant. Low, steady, like the hum of the earth itself. The language is old, older than empires, older than writing. It is the sound of water on stone, wind in branches, fire in wood. The oak trees are not merely trees. They are teachers, keepers of memory. Each ring within their trunks holds a year of rain, sun, storm, and stillness. Each branch has touched generations of sky. To the guardians of the grove, the oaks are living scriptures, pages written by time itself. When the priestesses place their hands against the bark, they feel more than wood. They feel the slow pulse of earth. They feel the patience of centuries. They feel that life is not rushed, but layered, each moment resting gently upon the next. Their prayers are not only for themselves. They are for the harvest, for the herds, for safe journeys, for mothers giving birth, for the dying taking their final breaths. In every leaf, in every stone, the priestesses sense a reflection of human life. They weave those reflections into ritual so that people may remember they are never apart from the forest, never apart from the land. The moon begins to rise above the canopy, pale and full. Its light spills into the clearing, soft and silver, painting the moss in gentle glow. The priestesses lift their arms, palms open to the sky. In Celtic lands, the moon is a companion, a guide for tides, growth, and the turning of time. Its cycles mirror the cycles of life: birth, fullness, fading, renewal. The guardians move in rhythm with it, their bodies swaying like branches. Their chants shift to a hum, smooth and lulling, blending with the breeze. It is as though the forest itself has begun to sing. Owls call from the shadows. Small animals stir in the undergrowth, then fall still. All of nature pauses as if listening. The grove becomes a single breath. Inhale, exhale, woven of firelight, moonlight, and devotion. There are stones at the edge of the grove, tall and weathered, standing upright in silent watch. They are marked with carvings, spirals, and lines whose meanings are carried more in feeling than in word. These stones are not barriers, but gateways aligning with the stars above. They remind the people that earth and sky are mirrors, that what happens in the heavens is reflected upon the land. The priestesses touch the stones as they pass, their fingers tracing the spirals. To them, the spiral is a symbol of the journey. Outward, life expands. Inward, life returns. Both paths are part of the same whole. The spiral is the river, the breath, the heartbeat, the turning of the stars. Tonight, under the gaze of the full moon, the spirals glow faintly, as if remembering the many hands that traced them before. Time feels layered here, the past not gone, but resting quietly beneath the present, like roots beneath soil. The guardians of the grove also tend to water. Not far from the oaks lies a spring, its surface calm reflecting the stars above. The water is gathered in vessels of clay poured into bowls at the fire. Clear, shimmering, it is treated not as ordinary but as sacred. For water remembers. It carries the voice of rain, the coolness of shade, the life of rivers. When the people are sick, water is blessed by the priestesses. When journeys begin, water is sipped before the first step. When children are born, water is sprinkled upon their foreheads. It is not magic, it is memory. The guardians remind their people that to drink is to take the earth within, to join again with all that is living. So they chant over the bowls by the fire. They whisper blessings, their voices soft as the water's surface. They do not command, they do not demand. They only offer as one might offer a flower to the sun. The night deepens. The chants grow softer, like embers fading to glow. The fire crackles gently, its smoke rising into the canopy. The priestesses step back into stillness. Some sit upon stones, others rest their palms against oak bark, some close their eyes in quiet meditation. There is no rush. The ritual is not about ending. It is about being present with the land, present with the sky, present with the silence that holds everything. The grove itself seems to breathe more deeply. The wind has softened, the owls have grown quiet. Even the stars seem to pause, their light steady, gentle, unwavering. The priestesses are not alone here. In their stillness, they sense the presence of all who came before them, those who once lit fires in this grove, who once lifted their arms to the same moon, who once whispered prayers into the same leaves. Time folds together, and they are part of a lineage, a river of memory that flows without end. You drift with them now. The moss beneath your feet is cool. The firelight warms your skin. The sound of the breeze through the branches surrounds you like a lullaby. You feel the oak roots beneath the soil, steady and grounding. You feel the stars above, wide and eternal. The grove holds you gently. Its silence does not press but cradles. Its whispers do not demand but soothe. You are not asked to believe, not asked to act, only to rest, to breathe, to feel the soft pulse of life moving through all things. The guardians of the grove continue their watch, quiet and devoted. Their presence assures you that the world is tended, that the rhythms of earth are cared for, that you may close your eyes without fear. The fire dims. The chants fade to silence. The grove falls into stillness, wrapped in mist, held in moonlight. The priestesses rest as the oaks stand tall above them, as the stars look on with patient light, and so the night carries on, deep and quiet, steady as the turning of the spiral. Let us drift onward into softer dreams. Now rest as the stars return. From Siberia to the Americas, women shamans struck the drum as heartbeat of the world, bridging seen and unseen. The night is wide and tender. Above the snow-lit plains, the stars shimmer like silver embers scattered across velvet sky. A soft wind moves, slow and steady, brushing over the frozen earth, carrying with it the breath of ancient spirits. The air is crisp, filled with the hush of winter silence. In the center of this stillness, there is a fire. Its glow flickers warm against the dark, drawing shadows that sway like dancers upon the ground. Beside the fire, a woman sits, her cloak lined with fur, her hair bound with beads that glimmer faintly in the light. She is the shaman, the bridge between worlds, keeper of drum and song. The drum rests upon her knees, round and worn, stretched with hide, painted with symbols that spiral and flow. Circles of sun, spirals of water, wings of birds. Each mark is a prayer, each line a path through the unseen. She closes her eyes, listening. The wind, the fire, the silence. Then, gently, she lifts her hand. The first sound is soft, a single beat like a heart waking in the darkness. Boom, pause, boom, pause. The sound moves outward, deep and low, until the earth itself seems to breathe with it. The fire crackles in rhythm. The stars above seem to shimmer in time. The drum is not only an instrument, it is the pulse of the world, a reminder that all things share the same beat: stone, river, bird, and breath. In Siberia, the drum is said to be a horse, a spirit horse, carrying the shaman from the world of flesh to the world of dream. With each beat, the horse begins to move, slow at first, steady, then swifter, its hooves striking the air like echoes of thunder. The shaman does not leave her place, yet her spirit journeys, lifted upon the rhythm, guided by the drum's steady stride. Across the ocean, in the vast lands of the Americas, the drum carries the same truth. Women shamans gather by rivers, by mountains, in open plains beneath endless sky. They too strike the hide stretched tight, calling forth the heartbeat of earth. The drum becomes a bridge, a way to step across the thin veil between what can be seen and what can only be felt. The shaman sings now, her voice low, flowing like water beneath the beat. The language is old, a weaving of syllables that rise and fall like wind against stone. It is not a song to be understood by mind. It is a song to be felt, like warmth, like breath. Her voice drifts with the rhythm, and the firelight seems to shimmer differently, the flames stretching taller, swaying wider. In the shadows, shapes seem to gather, spirits drawn close by the sound. They are not frightening. They are quiet, curious, like animals drawn to still water. They circle the fire, unseen yet felt, listening as the drum continues its heartbeat song. Everywhere, the shaman knows the world has layers. There is the layer of earth, stone, and snow. There is the layer of wind, sky, and stars. And beyond these, the layer of dream, where ancestors wait, where spirits move like rivers, where wisdom rests in silence. The drum opens the path. The drum steadies the step. Each beat is a foot upon the bridge. Each pause is a breath between worlds. Step, breath, step, breath. The journey is not rushed. It unfolds slowly, like dawn spreading across the horizon. In her vision, the shaman walks through a forest. Tall pines rise above her, their branches heavy with snow. The path is soft beneath her feet, muffled by frost. She follows the sound of her drum, though her hands still move upon it by the fire. In the forest, animals gather. A white reindeer, its antlers like branches of crystal. A raven, black as midnight, gliding between the trees. A fox, its eyes bright, watching from the shadows. Each animal steps forward, silent, patient. Each one carries a message, though not in words. They speak in feeling, in images, in the deep knowing of the heart. The reindeer bows its head, reminding her of strength. The raven circles, reminding her of flight between realms. The fox blinks slowly, reminding her of patience, of listening. She thanks them, though not aloud. Gratitude flows like water from her spirit to theirs, and then she continues, deeper into the dream. The beat of the drum changes, slower now, softer. It becomes like waves upon a shore, gentle, rhythmic, unending. In many traditions, the shaman's drum is said to hold the sky within it. The rim is the horizon, the height the heavens stretched above. When the shaman strikes the drum, it is as though she is touching the sky itself, reminding all who listen that they are part of the same vast circle. Children fall asleep to its sound. Mothers hum its rhythm when cradling the young. Elders lean upon it when their breath grows thin. The drum carries every stage of life, wrapping it in the same steady beat. The fire has grown low. The stars are brighter now, countless points of silver scattered across the dark. The shaman's song fades into humming, soft and low, like the purring of earth itself. The spirits gathered around the fire drift back into the night, satisfied, calm. Her hands grow still upon the drum, yet the echo continues, not in the air, but in the heart. Whoever listens carries the rhythm within, like a second heartbeat, soft and steady. The woman lifts her face to the stars. Her eyes remain closed, but she sees. She sees the ancestors gathered beyond the veil. She sees their faces calm, their hands lifted in blessing. They do not speak, but their silence is full, comforting as the glow of embers in the dark. The shaman breathes deeply. The journey is complete. She does not hold on, does not cling. The visions will fade, as dreams always do, but the rhythm remains, woven into her spirit. She sets the drum beside her, resting it gently upon the earth. The fire crackles softly. The night is wide, still, endless. Somewhere far away, another woman lifts her drum. Perhaps in the frozen lands where auroras dance above the snow. Perhaps in the warm deserts where stars burn bright against open sky. Perhaps by a river where reeds bend in the night breeze. She too begins to strike the skin, steady and slow, joining her rhythm to the pulse of earth. The world is vast, yet the drum unites it. Across oceans, across mountains, across generations, the same sound beats on. The same bridge opens. The same heartbeat flows. You feel it now. The soft rhythm echoing in your chest. The stillness around you cradling. The fire's warmth. The stars above. The silent company of spirits. There is no need to travel far. The drum is already here, carrying you gently between the worlds of waking and dream. Each breath you take is a beat. Each pause is a rest. The rhythm holds you steady and kind. The fire fades lower. The wind moves softer. The night folds in around the shaman and her drum. Around the spirits, around the stars themselves, all grows quiet. Only the heartbeat remains, slow, gentle, unending. Let us drift onward into that rhythm. Now rest as the stars return. In Greece, Demeter's mourning for Persephone birthed rituals of harvest, teaching that grief and renewal walk hand in hand. The night opens softly, like a scroll unrolling under starlight. The moon hangs above the hills of Greece, casting silver upon olive groves and fields at rest. The cicadas are hushed, the air cooled by the breath of evening. A temple of stone rests at the edge of the land, its columns pale as bone, its steps worn by centuries of feet. Here, at this quiet hour, a story drifts upon the wind, a story of a mother, a goddess, whose sorrow once reshaped the world. Demeter, goddess of the fields, keeper of grain, guardian of harvest, was known as the nurturer of all. Where her hands touched the earth, seeds broke open and green shoots climbed skyward. Where she walked, meadows awoke in bloom and orchards bent heavy with fruit. Her love fed both mortal and divine, a love that moved like sunlight across the soil, yet even the heart that nourishes all may carry sorrow. And in the tale of Demeter, sorrow and renewal became forever joined. The story begins with Persephone, daughter of Demeter, maiden of spring. She wandered meadows bright with flowers, her laughter light as falling petals. She gathered blossoms of crocus and iris, weaving garlands with her hands. Her joy was the joy of earth itself, the delight of seeds pushing upward, the dance of rivers in thaw. But beneath the earth, another power stirred. Hades, lord of the underworld, saw her brightness and longed to bring her to his realm of shadow. From the ground he rose, his chariot black, drawn by steeds as dark as night. The earth split open and Persephone was carried away. The meadow grew still. The blossoms she had dropped lay scattered, their fragrance fading in the sudden silence. When Demeter learned of her daughter's loss, her heart cracked like dry soil. She searched the earth, wandering with torchlight through day and night. She asked the mountains, the rivers, the winds. She asked the stars themselves. But the answer was silence, or whispers that led only deeper into grief. Her tears fell upon the fields, and where they fell, the earth withdrew its gifts. The grain would not grow. The trees held back their fruit. The soil hardened, barren, unyielding. The world grew lean, its people hungry, as the goddess mourned without end. The ancients told that her sorrow lasted many months, and in that time the earth itself seemed to mourn with her. Each stalk that withered became a sign of her pain. Each cold wind that swept the land carried her lament. Yet grief, like rivers, may carve new ways. And so a path was found. Zeus, lord of sky, sent Hermes fleet-footed to the underworld. His words were silver, swift and light, seeking to soothe, seeking to heal. He bargained with Hades, who at last allowed Persephone to return, though not fully, for she had tasted of the pomegranate, the fruit of the underworld, whose seeds bound her to shadow as well as light. And so it was decided. Part of the year, Persephone would dwell with her mother, bringing joy and spring. The other part, she would return below, and Demeter would mourn again, the world turning to autumn, then winter. The people of Greece saw in this tale the rhythm of their own fields. When Persephone returned, the grain rose, green and golden. When she left, the stalks bowed low, the earth lay bare. The story was not only sorrow, nor only joy. It was both. It was the truth of cycles, of loss and renewal entwined, each one giving meaning to the other. In Eleusis, a town near Athens, rituals were born from this story. At twilight, torches would be lit, their flames like stars carried upon earth. Songs were sung, slow and low, echoing Demeter's search. Women and men walked together in silence, carrying offerings of grain and water, seeking not only to honor the goddess, but to touch the mystery she carried. It was said that those who entered these rites emerged changed. They learned that grief is not the end, but a passage. That darkness, too, can hold seeds of life waiting to rise again. Imagine the sacred halls, cool with marble, lined with flickering light. The air holds the scent of wheat, of smoke, of honey poured as offering. The chants rise, rhythmic, steady as waves upon shore. The people sway together, not in frenzy, but in calm, in unity. They know Demeter weeps, and they weep with her. They know Persephone returns, and they rejoice with her. And so they learn that both sorrow and joy are sacred. Both are threads in the great weaving of existence. Demeter's tears are not only of grief, they are also tears of love. For love too brings sorrow when its object is lost. And yet, love also brings the joy of reunion, the green rebirth of spring after cold. The ancients saw the fields as mirrors of the heart. Every seed that died in the soil was like a farewell. Every stalk that rose was like a greeting. Loss and renewal walked together, hand in hand, never apart. Even now, as the listener drifts in the quiet of night, the story still lives. The wind moving through branches is Demeter's sigh. The buds waiting in darkness are Persephone's promise. The turning of seasons is the rhythm of their bond, unbroken, eternal. To sleep is also to descend, like Persephone into the underworld of dreams. To wake is to return, like spring breaking through winter's frost. Each night and each morning carry the same mystery. Each breath, too, holds the rhythm, release and renewal, falling and rising. The temple grows quiet now. The torches fade, the chants soften into silence. Only the sound of the night remains steady and calm, carrying the tale like a lullaby across centuries. Demeter rests at last, her tears drying, her hands again blessing the fields. The earth breathes easy, the seeds stir beneath the soil. The promise of return glimmers like dawn at the edge of the dark. You rest now, too, your breath steady, your spirit wrapped in the rhythm of the tale, grief and joy, night and morning, sleep and waking, each one folded into the other, each one part of the same gentle weaving. Let us drift onward into the hush of this cycle. Now rest as the stars return. Beneath the soft veil of night, when the stars shimmer like beads of silver upon a great dark cloth, there lies the memory of a temple hidden in golden sands. Its pillars rise like quiet guardians, kissed by moonlight, while its chambers glow with the warmth of unseen fires. This was the temple of Hathor, the goddess of beauty, music, and joy. A place where song was prayer and laughter was a holy gift. The desert around it stretched in endless silence. Yet within those walls, the silence was met with gentle rhythm, soft clapping of hands, low hums, the tender strike of sistrum bells. The temple lived with music, as though the goddess herself breathed through every echo. Here the women gathered, carrying garlands of lotus and palm. Their steps were unhurried, flowing like water. Each movement was an offering, each song a bridge between the earth and the heavens. The hidden temple was not carved of pride or conquest, but of sweetness and light. Its stone walls were painted with scenes of blossoming fields, of cattle grazing beneath the sun, of women pouring milk and honey as gifts to the divine. At its heart stood the shrine of Hathor. She was not fierce nor distant. She was gentle, golden, radiant. In her form, love took shape. Her face shone with kindness, her crown circled with the horns of the sacred cow, cradling the disk of the sun. The people saw her not only as goddess, but as mother, friend, healer, and muse. It was said that when the world grew weary, she played her music across the sky. The winds carried her melodies, the rivers swayed to her rhythms, and even sorrow found rest in her presence. On festival nights, when the desert stars gathered like countless eyes of light, the women filled the temple with song. Their voices were soft at first, like the murmur of reeds in the Nile. Then slowly they grew, weaving together like silk threads, lifting the air with joy. The drum was steady, like the heartbeat of the earth. The sistrum bells shimmered like sunlight on ripples of water. Flutes carried notes as light as morning birds. And through this gentle orchestra, a sense of belonging filled every heart. The music was not meant to dazzle. It was meant to soothe, to remind the soul that joy too is sacred, that laughter too is prayer, and that beauty is not only in grand skies or wide rivers, but also in the tender way one human voice joins another. Hathor was known as the Lady of Turquoise, for in the mines where turquoise stones lay hidden, workers prayed to her for strength and kindness. The gem itself was seen as a piece of her spirit, cool and calming, carrying the blue of the sky into human hands. To wear turquoise was to carry Hathor's blessing, protection, grace, and the reminder of the sky's endless embrace. Her temple shimmered with these stones. Small inlays glowed like pieces of heaven, reflecting torchlight in soft glimmers. When the women sang, the stones seemed to join them, casting quiet sparkles upon the walls as if the temple itself was alive, humming with devotion. There were stories of Hathor as the Golden One, whose laughter poured like sunlight over the fields. Farmers called to her at dawn, praying for harvests to ripen and cattle to grow strong. Mothers whispered her name when rocking children to sleep. Travelers prayed for her protection when crossing long roads of sand. In every prayer, there was a note of music, even if no voice carried it aloud. Hathor's gift was not only sound, but the rhythm of life itself. The steady breath, the gentle step, the tender beating of the heart. To live in harmony was her teaching. To nourish, to love, to sing, and to dance. Life itself, in her eyes, was a sacred song. In the hidden temple, women often gathered at dawn. They lit incense, its fragrance drifting like soft clouds. They poured milk into clay bowls as offerings, a symbol of her nurturing power. They sang lullabies to the rising sun, as if singing to Hathor herself. The temple was not only a place of ritual, it was a refuge. Those who carried burdens came here to lay them down. They sat upon cool stone floors, listening to the music, feeling their hearts quiet in the rhythm. In Hathor's presence, grief became lighter. Loneliness softened. The soul remembered its own beauty, for Hathor taught that beauty was not a mask nor a treasure locked away. Beauty was kindness in the eyes, warmth in the hands, joy shared in the simplest of ways. Some legends spoke of her as the celestial cow, whose great body carried the stars. She walked across the sky, and the heavens lay upon her back like a cloak of jewels. From her flowed milk, a stream of life, nourishing the earth below. In her care, the world was fed, both body and spirit. When people gazed at the night sky, they did not see emptiness. They saw the body of Hathor, radiant with stars, carrying them all within her endless embrace. The universe in her presence was not vast and lonely. It was a home, warm and filled with love. The women of the temple believed that music was a doorway. Each sound carried the soul across unseen thresholds, leading into places of peace. When they struck the drum, they felt the heartbeat of the goddess. When they shook the sistrum, they felt sunlight in their hands. When they lifted their voices, they felt themselves become part of something larger, something eternal. And so every song became a prayer not only to Hathor but also to life itself. Every note whispered, "Be gentle, be joyful, be at peace." The rituals of Hathor were not grand with spectacle, but soft with tenderness. Garlands of flowers hung upon stone pillars. Candles flickered like little suns. Women swayed in slow circles, their steps echoing ancient patterns, their movements like flowing water. Children sometimes joined them, laughing, clapping, their joy woven into the sacred rhythm, for joy itself was holy, and no sound was too small to offer. When night grew deep and stars leaned low, the temple would quiet again. The drums would fall still. The sistrum bells would fade into silence. Only the sound of breathing remained. And in that hush, it was said, Hathor's presence was strongest, like a mother watching over her children as they drifted into sleep. Even now, when the temple lies hidden in time's embrace, its memory lives. The desert sands cover its walls, yet the music still lingers in the air. Those who walk among the ruins speak of strange echoes, soft hums, distant bells, a sense of warmth upon the wind. Perhaps it is imagination, or perhaps it is the voice of Hathor, still singing, still nurturing, still reminding the world of the gentle power of joy. And so, let the story of Hathor rest in your heart tonight. Let her music cradle you, steady as a drumbeat, soft as a lullaby. Let her golden light wrap around you like a shawl. Know that beauty is not far away. It is here in your breath, in your rest, in the kindness that flows quietly from your soul. Now let the temple fade into silence. Let the bells fall still. Let the night deepen around you. Drift onward as the stars return. The night stretches wide, soft and eternal. Above, the sky blooms with countless stars, each one a small flame flickering in the vastness. The desert has grown still. The rivers rest in silver silence, and the winds carry only whispers. It is here, in the deep embrace of the cosmos, that the Great Mother waits. She is older than temples, older than stone, older than memory. She is the Night Mother, womb of creation, dark and infinite, yet filled with love. When the world grows weary, it folds itself into her arms. She is the silence after song, the pause between heartbeats, the endless sky where all things return. She is not far away. She is the darkness above you now, the soft cloak that surrounds your body, the gentle presence that holds you without end. In ancient times, People lifted their eyes to the stars and saw not emptiness, but her face. The wide arc of the heavens was her body, stretched from horizon to horizon. The sun was her child, born each dawn from her hidden womb. The moon was her reflection, glowing softly, guiding the earth through the hours of dream. She was called by many names. To some, she was Nut, the sky goddess of Egypt, arched across the world like a jeweled mother protecting her children. To others, she was Not, the night itself, riding her quiet chariot across the northern skies. In still older whispers, she was simply the mother, the first cradle, the one from whom all things emerged and to whom all things return. The people did not fear her darkness. They trusted it. They lay upon the earth and felt her cool hand upon their brows. They slept beneath her stars, knowing her presence kept them safe. Night was not an end. It was a passage. Night was the breath before rebirth, the soil where dreams could grow. Every star was thought to be a soul, nestled in her body, shining softly. The Milky Way, wide and bright, was her river of milk, flowing from her breast to feed the world. To gaze upon it was to remember her endless care. Even the smallest flicker of light in that river carried the warmth of her embrace. Stories told that in the beginning, there was only her. She was the vast, fertile darkness, heavy with possibility. From her depth came the first breath, the first spark, the first song. She gave birth to the earth and the sky, to the waters and the winds. She birthed the sun to warm her children, the moon to guide their nights, and the stars to remind them they were never alone. Her children filled the world. They grew, they built, they dreamed, and though they wandered far, she never ceased to watch over them. She wrapped the world each evening in her cloak of night, whispering rest, calling every creature into stillness. Priestesses once sang hymns to her under open skies. No temple could contain her. No stone could hold her form. She was larger than mountains, softer than rivers, more enduring than any shrine. Their voices rose in the dark, low and steady, like the hum of the earth itself. They sang of her endless arms, her gentle womb, her gift of sleep. They sang of death not as a shadow to fear, but as a return, like a child returning to its mother's breast. They knew her darkness was not emptiness but fullness, not silence but hidden song. In her presence, sorrow found ease. For grief is heavy, yet the Night Mother knows how to carry weight. She has carried the stars themselves. She has carried all creation. To her, even pain is a child, cradled, soothed, and slowly transformed. When you feel her darkness, you may imagine loss, but she teaches that loss is not an end. It is a turning, a return. What falls away is not gone. It rests within her, waiting to be born anew. There are old tales of children asking where they go when they sleep. The elders would smile and point to the night sky. There, they said, you go into the arms of the mother. She rocks you among the stars. She sings to you with the voices of night winds. She keeps you until dawn, when she returns you to the day. And so, sleep was never seen as small or ordinary. It was a return to the source. Each night was a soft rehearsal of the greater return, when life itself would fold back into her, like a river flowing into the sea. To rest beneath her sky was to remember unity. Every creature, every soul, every light in the heavens, each one rested in her. Nothing stood apart. The bird in the tree, the child in its cradle, the elder with weary breath. All were gathered in the same night, the same embrace. This is why the stars have always comforted the heart. They are reminders that no one is truly alone. The Night Mother holds them all, without preference, without condition, without end. Close your eyes and imagine her body above you now. She arches from horizon to horizon, a river of stars flowing across her skin. Her breath is the night wind. Her voice is the hush of distant waters. She bends low, not to frighten, but to shelter. She carries you the way the sky carries the earth, always, without fail. Her womb is vast enough for galaxies, and yet it is tender enough to cradle you, just as you are, here and now. Some myths say that each morning, the sun is born from her again. She swallows him at dusk, carries him through her body in the hours of darkness, and delivers him anew at dawn. In this rhythm, life learns the truth of cycles. Nothing is lost. Everything returns. Night becomes day. Death becomes life. Silence becomes song. The Night Mother is not the end of light, but the keeper of its return. She teaches patience. She teaches trust. She teaches that even in darkness, the seed of morning sleeps. When the people grew tired, when their hearts were restless, they looked to her. They let her cloak fall over them. They surrendered their burdens into her shadows. She needed no words, no temples, no rituals. Her presence was enough, for sometimes the greatest gift is simply to be held, to know you are safe, to rest in arms that ask nothing of you. And so tonight, as you drift beneath her sky, remember that you are not adrift. You are carried. You are gathered. You are returned. The Great Mother does not let go. She has never let go. Her womb holds the stars, the rivers, the memories, the dreams. And you too are within her, a small and shining part of her eternal body. The world falls quieter now. The winds slow. The stars seem to lean closer. The darkness grows softer, warmer, more complete. Let yourself sink into her arms. Let the Night Mother gather you as she has gathered all things. Rest in her endless embrace. Now let the story fade. Let the night deepen. Let the stars return. Drift onward, child of the sky. Drift onward into peace.